I heard it's like down like crazy. Which is so.
Okay, post. Being punished for talking about things that are real, telling the truth. So I'll be back on the 14th on TikTok. But in the meantime, Big and Corn-Fed on YouTube. Being punished. Okay. Hashtag for your page. Hashtag news. Hashtag silver. And post. There. All right. Had to take care of that. Had to make sure that I got on there and just told people, hey, listen, I'm not on TikTok because they're dicks. And they decided to go ahead and censor me. Why'd they censor me? Well, they censored me because they friggin' felt like it. They censored me because they wanted to. Now, let's figure out what's going on in the gold and silver market, shall we? All right, let's see. What do we got here? By the way, for those of you who are wondering why silver, why prep, why be prepared just in case? I looked something up. The Texas power grid failure in 2021, that was only, 5 years ago? That was 5 years ago. And now looking back, they say that it was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 people died. Whoa. What the hell? Oh, just from power outages. Okay, the food and water shortages, infrastructure, environmental consequences, health consequences, carbon monoxide poisoning, hypothermia. Now, again, that's that's Texas. That's their issue. We don't have that issue here in sunny Arizona. We have a different issue completely. If that had happened, if we'd had a power outage in the summertime here, we would have been in a situation where if we lost power for even just a few days, it's unbelievable how many people would die. I mean, it's just hard to even wrap your head around how many people would be dead because of a power outage for 3 or 4 days. Anyone who's obese and elderly, anyone who's got diabetes and needs refrigerated medicine, anybody who needs any kind of refrigerated medicine, I don't know how many types there are, but I'm sure there's more than one type of refrigerated medicine. And anybody who needs it, you're done. By the way, why did silver crash today? Let's hit that real fast. The reason the silver crashed today was because China's trying really hard to push the price back down because they're paying more than we are by a long shot. But number two, a memo came out, which I find as believable as the idea that Daffy Duck is actually a duck, and he can talk. I don't believe that, and I don't believe this memo. But the memo had the effect that silver producers wanted, or silver buyers wanted, and that is, it said that Putin might be interested in having a deal with the United States where Russia uses the dollar again. Now, considering that we're at war with Russia right now, and Russia's not stupid, they know that. They know that it's a proxy war where we are sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine so that they can then bomb the shit out of Russia and kill tens of thousands of Russians. Yeah, I think Putin's not probably got Donald Trump being his favorite buddy at the top of the list. Now, I understand it's politics, and these guys clearly, based on the Epstein files, think that they're completely and utterly above this. Like, they don't need to worry about the peasants. You know, our job our job as the sort of vermin, if you will, is to die. That's our job. And I think Henry Kissinger actually said that. I'm going to check right now because I'm kind of curious. I do remember. Uh, let's see. Quotes about common people dying. No, that's not it. It may be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal. Really, I don't think that is true. You can ask Israel. Let's see. Because that's a wow. Well, okay, I got it slightly wrong. I said commoners, but the reality is it's soldiers. Military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. That's a hell of a quote from Kissinger, isn't it? But Henry Kissinger said that once the herd accepts mandatory forcible vaccination, it's game over. And that vaccine makers stand to make billions. We thin out the herd, and the herd pays us for providing extermination services. Huh. Uh-huh. Let's see. There is no evidence that Kissinger ever said this or wrote it. It sure sounds right, though, doesn't it? It's as George W. Bush once put it, it's got some truthiness to it. Truthiness. Remember that old term, truthiness? I love that one. Oh my God. It's like strategery. Okay, so theoretically, he didn't say that. I'm not convinced he didn't say that because, well, I think Henry Kissinger was an evil son of a bitch. Who said this? Who made that? Somebody made that. Once you've been to Cambodia, you'll never stop wanting to beat Henry Kissinger to death with your bare hands. I've never even been to Cambodia, but I know how they feel. Hey, Henry, let's try and end this whole debacle in Vietnam and make the world a better place. I'm going to bomb the shit out of Cambodia, then sponsor death squads in Latin America and genocide in multiple countries. That's Henry Kissinger saying that. And you know what? That's actually very, very, very true. But now, here's the thing, guys. Let's think about this for a second. Now you've seen the Epstein files, most of them, some of them, whatever. You see the way that they talk about themselves as superior to us in every way, how we are basically cattle, how Goyim are worthless creatures, how Jews are 99% smarter than us, or whatever that quote said, how they wanted to take, you know, DNA tests so they could see, you know, just how much of this superior bloodline they had. And yet they say, we're the victims. And it's like, well, okay, I don't think so. You know, because, you know, the thing that you got to remember is George Carlin had it all wrong. I thought George Carlin was a very, very intelligent guy and very, very funny guy. It's not a big club, and you're not in it. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny club, and you're not in it. See where I'm going with that? You want to know what the big club is? The big, 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 big club. The rest of us who are getting fucked over, taken advantage of, lied to, screwed, stolen from. That's the big club. It's a little tiny group of people at the very top, 18,500. 18,500 people control 89% of the wealth in the United States. I'll never forget that statistic because I thought about it for a second and I thought, wait a minute. I went with my daughter to see a Taylor Swift concert. When she was little, man, she just loved Taylor Swift. Well, I thought she was pretty good too. This is 15 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. I was back in like 2014, 2015. And I thought T Switty was pretty cool. I liked her songs, especially her country stuff. And I thought, okay, let's go. And I remember being in there, looking around. There was one other dad, a few people down. And other than that, I was one of the only grown-ups there. There were a lot of grown-up women, but mostly it was screaming teenage girls. It was pretty funny. Taylor put on a great show. She's a great singer, you know, costume changes, lots of fun stuff. It was good. It was a good show. But the thing that I remember is that at one point they said that it was sold out and that there were only about 18,000 seats, a little more than 18,000 seats in the stadium. It wasn't the big football stadium next door. No, it was the Coyotes hockey stadium. So it held a total of 18,500 people, give or take. And then when I read not too long after that 18,500 people control 89% of the wealth and assets in the United States of America, I remember thinking, man, that was a tiny, tiny little fucking arena. Like that wasn't a football stadium, man. That wasn't like where the Super Bowl was held. That wasn't a big place. It wasn't the Coliseum. It wasn't the Rose Bowl. It's a little hockey arena. It's a small club. It's a tiny, tiny club. And we're not in it. And what we need to understand about that is we should be very, very glad that we're not in it. We've been told that that club is supposed to be worshipped. That if you hoard anything, as a hoarder, you clearly have mental problems. You have a fear of not having enough. And so you hoard everything you can, whether it's straws or paper towels or newspapers, things that really should be thrown away, but you just can't let them go because this fear consumes you. This consumptive fear of not having enough. I submit to you that that's what billionaires are. They're sick little motherfuckers who just can't get enough. $1 million is a decent amount of money. And in most places in the world, including the United States, if you have $1 million, you can survive on that. Especially if you have $1 million and a decent little income. Then you can put a big down payment on your house, make sure that the monthly payments are low, and, you know, mean, obviously, if you got $1 million, you can fix your credit up, have an 800 FICO score so that your loan rates are great, etc. Live beneath your means, buy a used car and, pay cash for it, that sort of thing. If you have $10 million, well, your life gets a lot easier. A lot easier. Just add a zero, and all of a sudden things become, well, the whole world really opens up to you. You spend $1 million on your home. You buy $1 million house cash, so you have no payments. You have 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, something like that set aside. Just churning and burning, man, making you interest every year, enough that you can live on it comfortably, as long as you don't live too exorbitantly. You'll have a very, very cushy life forever. And, you could probably throw in a nice little yacht, nothing too crazy, not 400 feet, but, 60, 70 foot. Add a zero to that. And now you've got $100 million. With $100 million, you are in a very strange place. You're not a billionaire, not even close, really. But you have an amount of money that is generational, in the sense that if you lock it away from yourself and your children, let's say half of it, and you make even a moderate amount of money on it, the amount of interest that you make on that money is so unbelievably overwhelming monthly that unless you are a complete retrobate drug addict, you can't spend it, because you're talking in the neighborhood of 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a month income on interest from your money that you're not touching. Now, maybe you only net, once you pay your taxes, etc. Maybe you only net $20,000, $25,000 a month. But since your house is paid for, etc., I just don't see how you can possibly fuck that up. So $100 million seems like a lot of money. A lot of money. But take that $100 million times 10. Now you've got 1,000 millions. 1,000 $1 million piles of money. You're a billionaire. So if you make 10%, let's not go crazy. Let's not say that you make as much as I would make you, as much as I've made people in silver 43% per year over the last 10 years, which would mean if you'd given me the $1 billion, I'd be giving you back $1,431,000,000. I would have made you $431 million over the last 10 years. But let's just say that let's say it's Goldman Sachs, okay, a bunch of dumb fucking amateurs. If that's the case, then you can easily expect to live on, well, 10% a year. I mean, what's that? 100 million? So basically, you're dividing up. You're looking at about $9 million a month in interest. $9 million a month in interest. Okay. Well, I'd say that's probably enough, right? I mean, come on, $9 million a month? That is, what are we talking here? I mean, 9 million What's that? Is that $3 million a day? Is that what that is? It's $3 million a day, right? Okay, so can you survive on $3 million a day? Okay. But no. We're taught that no. This is a free fucking country. Freedom. Don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what I can and can't accomplish. I'm going to be one of them someday. So leave them alone. They're better than us. They're our sacred cows. They are the pinnacle of the American dream. Huh. Are they really? Is that true? Because they're the ones who seem to be drinking blood and going through ritualistic sacrifice and talking to each other about things that I just don't understand. Okay, look, I'll give you an example. All right. As a former Marine, if you said to me, look, you're looking down the barrel at a very bad human being. This dude has done some horrible shit. All right. He's killed men. He's killed women. He's killed children. He's killed the elderly. He's killed hospital workers. He's killed everyone that is sacred in war. The people that you don't kill, the innocents, the children. You don't kill children. You don't. It's a horrible, horrible day when you accidentally kill a child. It's something that can fuck you up for the rest of your life if you're human, or if you believe that they're human. So my point is this. If these are the people that look down the barrel of a gun like that, or in this case, they look at the end of the knife in their hand or what have you, and they think that it's fun to harm children, sorry, nope. You just gave up your fucking human card. You're not a human anymore. Humans don't do that to other humans, period. Now you say, oh, what about the genocide in Congo? Okay, the people who committed that genocide are not human beings. They're fucking animals. Well, what about the genocide in Gaza? The people who committed that atrocity are not human beings. Oh, that's anti-Semitic. No, it's not. It's a fact. When you can look down the barrel of a weapon and pull the trigger, not in anger, but in amusement, you are no longer a human being. I know some gungy fucking Marines. I've known some tough Navy SEALs, hostage rescue team, you name it. I've known some dudes. I've got a buddy who was Delta. And if I said to them, hey, how do you feel about killing children? They'd be like, what kind of fucking question is that, man? I mean, I'm pretty sure they'd actually be offended. They would want to know why the fuck would you even ask me that? Like, I thought we were friends. You know goddamn well how I would feel about killing a child. You don't do it. There are things you shouldn't do. And there are things you don't do. That's not a line you cross. No, there are things you shouldn't do. Okay, I did one of them. Okay, what was that? It was whatever. Fill in the blank. Dude, you shouldn't do that. I know. It's fucking stupid. All right, well, you may have to get punished for it, whatever it is. Drinking and driving, let's say. Smoking weed when it's not legal. Okay, you shouldn't do that. But you did it. Now you pay. Killing a child in cold blood for amusement because you think that it's fun, because you get a thrill out of it. You enjoy doing it. That's not in the shouldn't category. That's not in the, you really should shy away from that. No. You've crossed that line, that indelible line that never ever moves. It never changes. This is what men have agreed upon for thousands and thousands of years. It's why when these Victorian soldiers, and that's what they were at the time, came across the United States and got to the plains, and they saw that the Plains Indians were slaughtering each other, and that when the Braves would go into a village, they would kill everybody that wasn't worth capturing as a slave. And they would see this and they would say, wait a minute, why are you bashing babies on rocks? Because they're not old enough to keep up with us. Can't take them back to our village. It's 15 miles from here. They'll never make it. We're not carrying them. Okay, well, why'd you kill that woman? Well, she's too old. She knows who she is. She knows what tribe she's with. We can't trust her. So you're only keeping the ones that are, say, 5 to 8 years old. Yeah, maybe 10. We can train them. They're malleable enough that we can force them to accept us. And then they'll be great sex slaves or just slaves. Some of them will actually even turn into braves in our own village. Oh, that's horrifying and disgusting. You wiped out their entire village while they watched. Yeah, see, that's a line we don't cross. So you can make fun of the evil white man, but the evil white man had a rule about murdering children. We don't do it. It's not a shouldn't. It's not a couldn't, because you could, but you better be prepared to face the wrath of all the men around you. If you kill a child on accident, you have nothing but sympathy from the men around you. They understand. They understand that that is a life-destroying thing that just happened to you. And that if you can compartmentalize it, you may survive it. But you didn't do it on purpose. You certainly didn't do it for fucking fun. So now I say to you, our government is full of these people. Our government is made up of these people. Pam Bondi just had a shit hissy yesterday and today. An absolute shit hissy about how dare you question us? We did everything we could. You did everything you could? What? Is that, I mean, if that's supposed to be funny, it's not funny. If it's supposed to be serious, how fucking stupid do you think that we are? Yeah, we're not as educated as you are, Pam, but we're not stupid either. That's the problem. They're hoping that this goes away. This isn't going away. This is the biggest scandal in the history of the United States of America. This is the day that we found out, point blank, after the Republicans tried to bury this for the last year, and the Democrats fought to unveil it. And by the way, they're just as culpable. They're just as guilty, if not more guilty. They just didn't realize they were. That's the funny part. They thought that, oh, well, we're going to be fine. No, you're not. You're not. Who funded all these riots in 2021, 2022? Who funded Black Lives Matter? Who funded all of these crazy fucking firefights that we're having now? Who put those posters together? Who paid for all of that? Because it wasn't the right wing. So we've got a right wing that acts like complete and like total insane Nazis. And then we've got a left wing that does exactly the same thing, but under a different banner. If we don't clean house, if we don't absolutely clean house, if we don't absolutely destroy these politicians' career hopes, if we don't absolutely get rid of every one of these motherfuckers that didn't push for this, like really push for it. Thomas Massie really pushed for it. Ro Khanna really pushed for it. Do I care that one's a Democrat and one's a Republican? Fuck no, I don't care. I'm sick of being told that I'm supposed to care. Who's telling me that I'm supposed to care? The Democrats and the Republicans. Well, that's handy. You throw mud at each other, but you make sure that you throw it just hard enough that it lands at each other's feet. None of it ever actually sticks to you. Well, guess what? You motherfuckers just woke up in a pit of mud and you're all covered with it. And now we, the people, would like to know what's next. You going to keep trying to cover it up? Because I can tell you this, I am shocked. I am fucking shocked at how Donald Trump is handling this. I am shocked that he is attacking Thomas Massie for trying to figure out who raped and tortured and murdered little girls in our country. I did not know that was a protected class. Hakeem Jeffries. Boy, that picture I just saw of you smiling and hugging Epstein, that was not a pretty picture, buddy. Bill Clinton. Look, we know now. We know the Clinton Foundation was all bullshit. We know that your wife ran around the world as the Secretary of State of the United States of America and said, yeah, the president can help you. Obama can help you. But it's going to cost you. You're going to have to donate hundreds of millions of dollars to my husband's charity. What? Wait. Why? Well, because it's my husband's got a good idea. Well, wait. So we have to donate money in order to have the United States of America's government talk to us? Well, you don't have to. Wink, wink. I got to tell you, folks, I'm fucking tired of this. I am fucking tired of this. So, remember that, number one, yes, silver could go to 60. But if it goes to 60, it's still going to go to 300. Period. It's a bull market. And that's all there is to it. Period, period, period. Let them play their little reindeer games. It doesn't matter. Now, I see a head and shoulders, an inverted head and shoulders. That could kick in. If that kicks in, then, if we didn't break 75, let me check. Nope, we didn't break 75. All right, then we're coming back up. So we're okay. We're heading back up. We're at almost 77 again. Now, what that means is that inverted head and shoulders, which is a very positive sign, it's a very bullish sign. It means that inverted head and shoulders held. Well, that's very interesting. Because clearly the 75 last week was the first shoulder. And then bam, it fell all the way to 65. But then it climbed back up to 80 something, 85. Okay, that's the head. And then boom, it fell back down. Now, if it falls farther than the other shoulder, which was 74, then it could free fall to 60 easily. If it holds above 74, which it did, if it holds above 74, well, now that's very interesting. I'm going to have to check on that because that, to me, looks like an inverted head and shoulders. And if that's an inverted head and shoulders, okay, where's our, let's see. shoulder here, shoulder here. Well, we'll see. We shall see. It'll be very interesting. So, over the last 6 months, we're still up 102%. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's too much. Look, the last 5 days, we're up 8%. That actually even worries me. In the last day, we're up 2%. That's too much. And the reason I say that is because I would like to see it continue on the 45 to 50% path it's been on for 10 years. That's what I want. I want to just keep watching that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that would be, in my opinion, that would be perfect. It's been about just under 200% in the last 5 years. So the 5-year trend and the 10-year trend are basically the same. I don't mind that, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it skyrocketing. Skyrocketing is a bubble. And I said that, 3 weeks ago, right before it tanked. I was like, it's going up awful fast. That makes me a little nervous. Well, I was right to be nervous. Let's see something here. I want to check on they tried to cover it up. Now we know why. Yeah, boy, I got to tell you, man, it's all starting to come together, isn't it? It's all starting to come together. And it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good for our closest ally in the Middle East because everything has their fingerprints on it. Now, do we have a smoking gun? I'd say Epstein's about the closest thing we're going to get other than Charlie Kirk, and that will sort itself out. And believe me, when it sorts itself out, there's going to be a lot of people asking a lot of questions about Charlie Kirk. Because up until this point, it's been ignored completely and utterly by the mainstream media. Fine. If you ignore it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that it goes away. And that's what the lobbyists from that very special lobbying group are going to find out. You can lie, cheat, and steal. You can tell us whatever you want to tell us. Don't believe your lying eyes. Listen to my words. At some point, we realize that no, we're done. We're done believing in you. And now we're going to believe in ourselves and let the chips fall where they may. But when I look around the world and I look at the problems that we have in the world today, I can trace a lot of them back to a single source. Black Lives Matter, black and white being a problem. When did that start? Well, that started right after the Occupy Wall Street movement happened, where the elite said, whoa, Occupy Wall Street, what the fuck? You're not coming for us. Hey, what about black and white? That's a problem. As a matter of fact, let's make that a real problem. And we started focusing on that. During COVID, what was the very first thing that Biden did when he took office? Does anybody remember what the first bill he passed was? Because it was a doozy. It was the Anti-Asian Hate Speech Hate Crime Act. Let's say, wait, hate crimes against Asians? Who the fuck worries about that? Well, it's shot up. Shot up from what? Well, it shot up from before. Okay. How many hate crimes were there against Asians in the United States in, say, 2020? 152. That's if you include Eskimos, Inuits, Alaska Islanders, and Polynesians, Pacific Islanders. If you include those in the Asian category, 152 nationwide. Now, that's in the same year that hate crimes against gays, 7,000. Hate crimes reported against black people, 9,000. but 152 were reported against Asians, and that was the very first thing he tackled. I don't know, man. It doesn't add up, does it? But after we found out that China was the source of the disease, because we'd given it to them to play with, oops. Well, I got demonetized just now for saying that. But the reality is, you could look it up. It's true. I mean, we were told, Fauci was told, no more playing with this stuff. When Obama found out that they damn near killed the entire continent of Africa and perhaps the world with Ebola, that happened to be very hot Ebola. How's it get so hot? Well, the first outbreak was 8 miles away from Christian Anderson's Ebola lab, where they were doing gain of function research on Ebola. Didn't know that? That's a fact. They said that an 18-month-old wandered out of the village, caught a bat, and got bitten by it. That's how the outbreak started. 18 months old, huh? Wandered out of the village into the jungle by himself. Wow. Caught a bat by himself. I'm sure that's how it started. So, bottom line is, these lies are all starting to pop up at the same time, and it's not looking good. So let's do this. Let's all get prepared for the shit hitting the fan, which is what I'm teaching, what I'm writing the book on. It's basically an everyman's guide or every woman's guide. Although I will be writing a guide for women, because clearly, if you're a Navy SEAL and you're a woman, there are none. Why? Well, men and women are physically built different. So if you can do 300 push-ups nonstop, 1,000 sit-ups nonstop, run 17 miles with 30 pounds of gear on your back, then you should do what the Navy SEALs do. Do exactly what they're trained to do. If you can't do all that shit, then you're probably not going to take their advice, because their advice is very specific to what they know. Now, if you're a woman who has, let's say you're in decent shape, you're running 20% body fat, which is very low for a woman. That's excellent. You go to the gym a few times a week. Bottom line is, you're no sissy. Do you really want to do hand-to-hand combat with a 270-pound gang member? No. So the rules of engagement are different for you, and that's fine. Pumping ourselves up and telling ourselves that a girl boss can do anything a man can do, that might work for Disney, but it doesn't work in real life, when your life and your children's lives, more importantly, depend on it. Because if you think there are Epsteins now, wait until the grid fails, and you'll find out who the Epsteins really are. And there's more of them than you think. Luckily, they'll sort themselves out, if you know what I mean. They don't like to get along with one another. They don't work in teams, because they're all extraordinarily narcissistic. Psychopaths don't work in groups. Psychopaths lie and cheat and thieve from each other just as much. The only difference is they can't stand each other, because they know what they are. And they know they can't trust each other, which sets up a fun dynamic to watch. And I got to tell you, if I could just watch a gang full of psychopaths, jeez, I mean, it would self-destruct pretty fast, but it'd be fun to watch while it self-destructed. So anyway, speaking of psychopaths, let's keep up with Epstein and what's going on there. And remember, if you haven't called at least your congressman, you're an asshole. Look, if you haven't called your local congressman and said, hey, I just want you to know, I'm watching this stuff with the Epstein files, and I hope you are too, because this is the biggest issue we've had ever. This is what starts the Civil War. So if that's what you want, folks, you keep fucking around with this. You keep pretending like this doesn't exist. That's what's going to start the real problems in this country. The ones who protect him, the ones who don't protect them. And them meaning all of the Epsteins out there that are connected to Epstein. Trust me, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people involved in this. Hundreds, perhaps thousands. So who are they? What are we going to do to them? I mean, about them. No, I really mean to them. Because if we don't do anything to them, then by default, we're admitting that they're right. Life means nothing, especially if you're a child, because you can't defend yourself, so fuck you. And that all this Christian bullshit is just that. It's just bullshit. What Christ said about the children being the most important among us is bullshit. It's crap, and it doesn't mean anything. So, if that's going to be our stance, let's get to it. Let's tell the people who believe that you're right, we're wrong, and what do you want us to do? And other than obviously be your slaves, but we're saying let's get it on. Let's do it. We're your slaves now. So anyway, think about that. We'll do this again tomorrow. And if you need some silver now that it's very inexpensive, you should probably call me.